When it comes to designing an effective workout routine, you'll need to make a decision on how you're going to divide up your sessions, what body parts you're going to work, what days you're going to do what body parts you're going to do with other body parts. And there's several different ways of actually breaking out that routine. But because there are several different ways, there are many things to consider when putting together how you're going to break out your routine into the different sessions. We're going to go over 3 common ways that people actually set up their programming, the scientific information behind it, and what we recommend when building your training split today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness and the host of the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Listen, if you I want to let you know how to get in touch with us if you have any questions about this show or any others, or if we can help you put your training split together, please contact us area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That is also our website and also our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Hit us up on X at Team PE if you are so inclined. And again, as always, questions about this show, questions about any other show, or if you have any ideas or questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, or wellness, or something you'd like to see us do a podcast on. There are many hot topics out there in health and fitness, and many of our great ideas for podcasts actually come from callers. So thank you very much for contacting the show about that. Training splits. This is a topic that I like to speak on because it's amazing to me the variety of training splits that I see when I go out to other fitness facilities. One of my favorite things when I travel is to work out in different facilities and all kinds of different facilities. I worked out in one of the nation's top yoga studios back in Lord, that was 2000 in Chicago. I worked out in privately owned facilities. I've worked out in most of the big franchises I've worked out in before, and it's fascinating to me because I love checking out new equipment. I love to see what other facilities are doing, but I also like to watch exercisers because of what I do. It's easy to decipher somebody's split when I see what they're working on, and some of them are unique and some of them are quite unique, very interesting. But I feel that there's not enough time paid or attention given to breaking out your training split. Because that, believe it or not, that can be the life and death of an effective workout program. And I'm going to go over 3 today. And before you call in, unless you have, of course you have a question about a particular training split that I don't go over, I'd love to discuss it with you. But please understand, I do know that there are others, and a lot of people have very unique ones. But the reason I picked these 3 is that they seem to be the most common. And there are some other seemingly popular splits that I don't talk about today typically have a lot of redundancy in them and can be dangerous for overuse. If I have time in the podcast, I'll actually go over a little bit of that. So the first one is the simplest. It's I'd argue it amongst general exercisers, it's probably the most common. And the reason for it is it's simple, and that's an upper body, lower body split. The reason I say it's so simple, it's very easy to figure out. Before I describe the upper body, lower body split, I'm sure that you know what it is. And that is, one day I'm going to work my upper body. Next day I'm going to work my lower body. Simple. I'm not going to do legs today because I'm doing upper body. So nothing with legs. The next day I don't do anything with my upper body. I only do legs. So it's a balanced process. It really is. Upper body, lower body splits allows for a very balanced approach to training by evenly distributing the workload between upper body and lower body. And the frequency is good, typically. Depending on if you're an exerciser or if you're doing this with a day off in between, then you may not be getting enough work on it. But typically people doing upper body, lower body split are doing them on at least some days are back to back. So you've got upper body on Monday, let's say, and Tuesday lower body, upper body Wednesday, Thursday lower body. That's typically how folks do it, and so that allows you to train in a at least a 5-day program, if not a 6 or 7 day program. If you're taking a day of rest, then definitely 6 day. You're going to work both upper body and lower body twice during a week, and that frequency is good. It's a good frequency. That's why it's stated as a balanced process of going about it upper body. The cons against it, the things against it, it's time consuming. I mean, you're spending a lot of time on just the upper body, a lot of time on just the lower body, and you're getting 2 days a week, which is plenty, but it takes a lot of time. You're getting very detailed. You're doing more mile deep training and inch wide training. And what I mean by that is that you're just covering upper body, so you may go 2 or 3 exercises on shoulders, 2 or 3 exercises on chest, 2 or 3 exercises on back, 2 or 3 exercises on biceps. It depends on how far you break it down. And so it can be very time consuming. Same thing with the legs, going from a quad glute exercise to just a quad exercise to hamstring exercises. And if you're doing multiples on each one of those, again, it can be very time consuming. The other part is you can run into with all these, you can run into insufficient recovery time. But with the upper body lower body split, the reason for insufficient recovery time is the fact that if you're training upper body lower body, you may go so deep into the upper body. You're doing those multiple exercises per body part. And you're allowing that 1 day of recovery and going back, and you may have typical DOMS, delayed onset of muscle soreness, and be really sore if you do them on Monday, being really sore on Wednesday, and here you go hitting it really deep again, and so that's a concern. It's not a deterrent, but it is a concern. But who do I recommend this for? I recommend this for if you're not going to seek any professional help on this and you're new to exercise. I would typically recommend an upper body lower body split because it's easy. It's rule of thumb. It's a simpler type of a split. It's easy to understand. And but if you are a novice exerciser, then I wouldn't go super deep. I would when I say super deep, I'm talking about the depth of a repetition. I'm talking that if you're going to do one good chest exercise, one good shoulder exercise, one good back exercise, and then listen to your body, and we've got some recommendations for putting together your splits towards the end of that. But that typically the typical exercise that uses an upper body lower body split is a novice, or forgive me for stating it this way, but not as informed exerciser does an upper body lower body split. It happens to be your favorite. Hey, by all means, don't fix what's not broken. Keep going with it. And going to the other extreme, kind of the other side, would be a 5-day split. Now this is serious mile deep and maybe half an inch wide. And a 5-day program is basically taking your body and splitting it across 5 days, touching these muscle groups. The muscle group that you work on Monday, you will not work again until the next Monday. Now, but the difference is that it sounds like a lot of time. Yes, it is. It is a lot of time. You probably would like to hit it again, but you may be going so deep into the muscle that you need that long of a recovery time, or something close to it. Maybe not that long, but something close to it. You need that longer time. And this is why the typical individual that uses a 5-day split program is somebody that is the first thing, bodybuilders. Bodybuilders arguably use a 5-day split, and though they may work out twice a day, but they're doing they're typical individuals that actually partake in a 5-day split. And the why, because they're trying to build that really build that muscle. They're going to go really deep into it. And if it's not a bodybuilder, then it's somebody who has an extremely exercise focused lifestyle. Now be careful if you're looking at this going, well, that's going to be me. I'm going to be an exercise focused lifestyle. Now what I mean by that is that a very large part of their life is due to exercise. I mean, it is dedicated to exercise. Now, what do I mean by that? Bodybuilder. their competitions. That may be the only hobby they have, and their competitions are a big part of their lifestyle. So it is a very exercise-focused lifestyle. Some athletes, though most athletes won't use a 5-day split, but athletes, that is a large part of their, and I'm not talking about the every once in a while 5K. I'm talking about some kind of extreme multi-sport athlete or somebody that's playing, collegiately or in the pros or something. This is a very exercise-focused lifestyle. The cons against the pros are the fact that you are going a mile deep and you're really getting specific. You're going to, if you're going to work a shoulder, you're going to do individual exercises for traps, individual exercises for not just a deltoid, but front delts, back delts, lateral delts. You're going to be using combination exercises on top of all that. So that is the kind of 5-day program. If you're doing chest, you're going to do incline, decline, and flat. You're going to do flies. You're going to go really, really, really deep into that muscle. This is somebody that would use a squat and a deadlift and a leg press all in the same workout to doing a 5-day split. That's the pros on it, that you're doing a lot of very, 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 very detailed work. The cons on it, of course, are time consuming, extremely time consuming, very tedious, and unless you are a real student of exercise, unless you're working with a professional, doing that kind of a program. There's several pitfalls built in, and one of the pitfalls that I see that most people overlook is what I call your power days. Now, what I mean by your power days, you are superhuman on Monday morning. On Monday, Monday, you got this great plan. You've had the time off on the weekend, man. I'm gonna hit it hard on Monday. I'm gonna do chest, then I'm gonna do back on Tuesday, and Wednesday I'm gonna do quads and glutes, and then I'm gonna do hamstrings on Thursday. All right, come Wednesday. And life has happened, and you've had 10 or 15 meetings. The kids are driving you crazy. You haven't got much rest or whatever. Wednesday workout doesn't have anywhere near the energy level of Monday's workout. And if you're on a 5-day split, non-rotating split, so in other words, Monday is chest day, or Monday is, I say that's because I'm a male, we love working chest. But maybe it's quad glute day, whatever. That's your power day, and that power day always goes to that muscle group. And then your energy level trails off as the week goes on, so those workouts aren't as effective. So you end up overtraining one section of your body. And as I've spoken about this before when I talked about injuries, the reason you pull a muscle is the most common reason, and I say no most common, I should get one of my athletic trainers on here to tell me whether or not it's 100% of the reason. But if not, it's a 90% of the reason why you pull a muscle is an imbalance between muscles. And what I mean by that is that every muscle has an equal opposing muscle. A bicep has a tricep, a chest has a back, a quad has a hamstring. Every muscle has an opposing muscle. And if the opposing muscle gets stronger, then you have a tendency to pull it's equal opposite. In other words, the most common muscle pull is a hamstring. I use that example all the time. He was running the 100 meters in the Olympics and he would have won it, but he pulled and if I say that in a crowd, they'll say hamstring every single time. Rarely do they say quad, because we typically overwork our quads and they get more work on a daily basis than our hamstrings do. And so you end up pulling the hamstring. On a 5-day-a-week program, if you're using that power day and you're overtraining that one muscle, then you have a tendency of, one thing, overuse injuries on that muscle or joints, and also pulling the opposite side. So just something to be wary of if you're thinking of on a 5-day split. On that is who I'd recommend for that. Of course, people that are well adept at physiology, anatomy, or they've worked with the trainer, and then they really have an exercise-focused lifestyle, and that's not a challenge by any means. I'm not putting that as a challenge to anybody that, well, I'm going to be one of the good guys. I'm going to have an exercise-focused lifestyle. If it's not a competitive, it's not a major hobby, I'd stay away from the 5-day split. Not bad, but you've got to know how to put it together, and putting it together can be very, 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 very technical. This is one of the pitfalls I've seen when people put together 3-day splits and 5-day splits or whatever, and I'll talk to them about their split. And this day I do chest. I just do chest and triceps. That's it. And then the next day I do back and shoulders. Well, here's a problem. if you're doing chest and tries on Monday and you're doing back and shoulders on Tuesday, well, your shoulders have gotten worked out on Monday. Inadvertently. Doesn't matter if you didn't do a shoulder exercise. If you're doing chest work, I promise you, you're doing at least front deltoid work, if not more. And if you're doing any kind of pressing with your shoulder work, overhead presses, if you're doing any kind of pressing, you're going to work your triceps. Well, your triceps got worn out on Monday. So this is a serious problem with overtraining, possibility of getting overtraining. I've had people talk about days when they do a split with the legs and they're doing quads on one day and glutes the next day. And I'll ask them about their quad day, and they're doing leg press for quad, but they're doing squat for glutes. You're overworking the glutes. You're overworking the quads. They're not getting rest. You're actually causing damage. So that can happen in a 3-day program. It can happen in any program, but it can definitely happen in a 5-day program if you don't know how what the primary muscles are and the secondary movers for other exercises, and that's where it gets kind of dangerous. The third split that I want to talk about is one that we use quite often here. Not that we don't use these others, we do, but it's more technical, but it's extremely efficient, and that is the push-pull split. Now, the push-pull split, I feel, is a happy medium between the upper body, lower body, and like a 5-day split. And here's why. Push-pull split refers to how what the exercise does in your body. In other words, an example of a push would be a chest exercise, because typically when you're doing those exercises, you are pushing. You're doing a push move, which means a muscle can't do both. It can't do a pull motion and a push motion. It's going to do one or the other. So when you push, you're actually, with the chest, actually adducts the arm, brings the arm into the body, but you're typically working triceps. You're pushing objects away from your body when you're doing chest work. Now, people will argue with me, no, you're not. When you're doing flies, you're bringing your arms into your body. Yes, but the chest is actually contracting, pulling in, and all the muscles involved with pushing motion are involved in that fly exercise, and the muscles involved with pulling motion are not. They're actually at rest. Now, what are the pulling muscles? In upper body, your pushing muscles. Pushing, again, is chest, shoulders, triceps. The pulling muscles in your upper body are the back side of the body. Many times the push-pull split is also called a front-back split, because one day you're working the front side of the body, the other day you're working the back side of the body. There are some discrepancies there, because on a push day you would work glutes, which are on the back side of your body, but the pull muscles in the upper body are the back muscles and bicep muscles. And your pull muscles on your lower body are basically, most importantly, your hamstrings are your pull muscles there. This is one we use quite often. The pros to it are, again, like the upper body, lower body split, you're going to get at least 2 days a week. If you're running a 5-day week program, 5-day program, 6-day program, you're going to get each muscle group is going to be hit twice. And so the efficiency of it, you're getting a lot more done. When set up right, it doesn't, the time you're spending, it's more mile wide than mile deep. You're not going to do, unless you have just a limited amount of time, you're not going to do quite as many exercises per muscle group. But what you are going to do is you're going to do more workouts per muscle group, because you're repeating that day faster. The other thing that I like about the push-pull split or the front-back split is the fact that you're not going to get bored. Because when you feel like, wow, I don't want to do another upper body exercise, great. Switch to the lower body. If you're doing if you're doing push day, then you may do chest and then go right into doing quad glute, and then come back for shoulders, then go back into another quad specific exercise. You can do, in the workout, you can switch between upper body and lower body, and usually not feel, if nothing else mentally, as fatigued in the upper body, lower body, in the push-pull split or the front-back split. The cons with it, I don't recommend putting this together by yourself. If you're a novice at working out, I would not recommend putting a push-pull split together by yourself. You're going to get kind of lost. It requires a true understanding of anatomy and physiology to actually put together successful push-pull split. This is where I caution anyone from using a weekend certified trainer because they just don't have the knowledge base. Nothing against them. I don't mean anything rude. It's just that they don't have the education of the anatomy, of the physiology of somebody with a degree in the field that has taken a semester or two of physiology and anatomy. So they understand what muscles actually pull and what muscles actually push. That keeps you from going into that same problem I was talking about with the 3-day and 5-day split of redundancy. Of on my pull day I work back and shoulders, and on my push day I work chest and tries. Well, if you're working shoulders, then you're working push muscles. So that understanding is very important, but it is incredibly efficient. So I found some interesting studies on each one of them, and it's interesting. All of them I can read you. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research in 2015 compared upper body and lower body splits to traditional single muscle group training. They like a 5-day split. Results indicated that upper body lower body split led to greater strength gains in some participants. And I dug down a little deeper. And the some participants that got more out of the upper body and lower body splits happened to be participants that were novice trainers. So like I was telling you earlier, they probably never worked out before, but they found the upper body, lower body split easy to understand. So therefore they incorporated it in their routine and saw great results from it. For the 5-day split, let's see, here we go. A study published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine in 2017 found that training splits emphasizing single muscle groups can lead to greater muscle hypertrophy when compared to whole body training programs. Obviously, that was like I was saying a minute ago, that you're going to go a mile deep into that muscle. So sure, you're going to have hypertrophy. Hypertrophy refers to enlarging of the muscle. Doesn't mean permanently. It just means in any kind of resistance causes hypertrophy. But you're doing more damage, more work on the muscle in a single body part type 5-day-a-week program than you are on either an upper body lower body split or a push pull split, because you're spending more time on the muscle. And as far as the push-pull, there was a study published in the American College of Sport Medicine by the American College of Sport Medicine in 2019, finding that this was found to be a more efficient way, but only with working with a professional, because they actually found a lot of injuries associated with it, and because that was, of course, they were being done wrong. When putting your program together, first thing, determine your goals. You got to look at your goals. Obviously, that's going to determine, what do we need to work on in the first place? What do we need to focus on? And limitations plays into that. If you have a severe weakness in one area, you're going to want to spend more time on that area. Second, it's almost right up there with first, and that is lifestyle, timing. I'm going to do a 5-day-a-week program, and I've got 3 days a week I can work out. Well, a 5-day-a-week program ain't going to work. So what is realistic? What is realistically going to fit your lifestyle? And then listen to your body. Once you start executing this, listen to your body. Are you getting enough recovery? Are you sore all the time? Do you seem not making gains? You're getting injuries. And the last and most important, of course, I'm going to tell you, seek professional advice. Reach out to us here. We have the most qualified staff in the Southeast of exercise physiologists, kinesiologists, sport medicine, exercise science, and athletic training. Whether it's a rehab situation, whether you've got something you need to avoid or work on, we're more than glad to. If nothing else, we'll just set up and design a program for you. You can check back with us. In fact, you can actually use our accountability coaching and contact us and get involved with our app, which is Pledge. It's extremely affordable. Anybody can use it, but you get our coaching, you get our accountability. We can help track your program and help modify your nutrition, mindfulness, every bit of it. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. There's our website, our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness, and of course, hit me up on Twitter, our X, at Team PE. And if you're interested in the Pledge program, hey, click this link right here, and it'll take you, or the one below in the comments. It'll take you to our survey, and we can get you signed up with Pledge if you're interested in that coaching accountability. Put time into figuring out how you're going to break out your sessions. You made took a lot of time, a good bit of time to think about, where am I going to work out? What am I going to do? What are my goals? Why do I want to make a change? divide up when you're going to do those things, divide up what you're going to work on. And if you need help with that, we'd be more than glad to help you put that together, because it's just one more way that we help you reach your level of wellness. I'm Garrett Williamson. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.